copied like mice. You know what I mean? And it's basically all in the palm of your hand in an iPhone, and you're giving all that information up. You know, and you're giving it all up. And the guy, I read an interesting book by John Ronson, and he talks about how the guy who invented the computer system that creates databases, like, it was intended for good purposes, but he said the only people who seemed interested in it were credit card companies and people who wanted to basically suck money out of people, like, hardcore. Right. And the whole article was about a guy who lived in a poor area that killed himself because he owed so much money. And the reason he owed so much money is because he kept getting all these letters about easy credit and finance, 10 a day, just because he lived in that area. So we're being studied. That's the kind of stuff that I talk about as Greasy Belcher, the writer. The music is a separate thing. I write for a magazine called Unbelievably Bad. Started off by sending in these silly little jokes to Blunt. And we go, okay, so the theme of this might be artists that inspire others. Matt Reiki, who puts together Unbelievably Bad magazine down in Sydney, he has worked in all kinds of magazines down in Sydney. He's a centre of a community of people who are all artists. And Matt basically used to work for Blunt magazine, which is like a punk mag that I used to read down in Sydney. And I wrote him a letter once.
I've never read this. I'm holding the magazine. Yeah, let me read it, please. Oh my God.
This is before anyone had heard of them.
And before you were Greasy Belcher.
Yeah, so this is the second component of who created Greasy Belcher. So this would have been...
Oh, I just listened to a great podcast with Joe Rogan. On the cover is Shirley Massey. What's her name? Shirley Manson.
Shirley Manson, yeah.
Wow, this is a tripper. Okay, so in the letter section...
We're going back to Blunt magazine. What issue have you got? I've got issue 40. I've got issue 42. You must have 40 or 41.
Is that 38? Is it...
Issue, where is it? No, that's how much it costs. It is 30.
Yeah, issue 38 of Blunt magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, with the Crusty Demons on the back, 10th anniversary. I actually have that. I know. I've got this. Oh, wow. That's another story.
It's weird,
Mudgy gave me that signed complete because he was in the Crusties, but he broke his wrist.
So I used to be an avid reader of Blunt magazine, and one day, and this is the only time I've ever done this, I was inspired to write a very short 2-line letter to the magazine via email, and it got published, and it blew my mind.
All right, this is from Carl. I heard this great band on the radio the other day. The singer sounds like a young Ozzy Osbourne. Check them out. They're called Black Sabbath. They're obviously influenced by seminal 70s hard rockers Wolfmother. I said that like a smartass, but that's funny.
It is funny, but that's...
For a random to discuss.
And then that got published, and I was like, holy shit.
Hell yeah.
And then I wrote another letter in, and... Anyway, I won't go through it. Look, letter of the month. This got Fashion Kings. So they had an ad for a band called the Cottonmouth Kings, and I said, I'm pretty sure I've stumbled upon the most embarrassing band photo of all time. Page 66, lower half, a group of tryhards called Cottonmouth Kings. To the left, we have the offspring of John Belushi and Robert Smith from The Cure. Next, we have what looks like a white Flavor Flav impersonator wearing a bed cover in a white turban, and he's giving us some rap motherfucker hand signals. He's sitting beside not one but two clowns who are dressed as if they looked up the word punk in a department store catalogue. You've also got a skater dude in the middle with a requisite crotch between the knees pants, a piece de la resistance, two Fred Durst bling being rent boy caps on sideways, 30-year-olds dressed like 12-year-olds, both wearing these twisted overgrown version of... They look like a twisted overgrown version of King's Cross spewed back from a parallel universe that didn't want them either. Obviously, this won't get printed because you're not going to buy the advertising hands that feed you, but doesn't everybody else cringe when they see people dressed like this? And then I got a free Blunt magazine T-shirt and an email from Matt saying, mate, we do this thing called Unbelievably Bad, and if you're into it, we'd love to have you send us some shit. So I basically started taking the piss out of people in Unbelievably Bad, and it just grew and grew and grew, and I write these articles for these guys now, and they're being serialized. So they're like 1, 2, and 3 pages. And there's a brilliant artist called Gleno who has Gleno Art on Instagram down in Sydney. There's another guy that used to draw for them called Radiation Ross. There's a guy called Drew Gates who's written an incredibly brilliant book. It's like Train Spotting. He's a guy that I can tell when I read. He studies every word like you wouldn't believe. This guy locks himself in the basement. So Drew Gates, and I've discovered so many just great things through reading Unbelievably Bad. You know, like Royal Headache, just a fantastic band down in Sydney. Matt's got impeccable taste, and everything that you discover that Matt shows you is going to be good. You know, so yeah, been doing that for a while and loving it. You know.
Never stop. I'm just looking through this magazine, man. It's like a time.
Yeah, that's about 10 years old.
Yeah,
you know? And I used to read it down in Sydney, and then
I don't even know if they're Unbelievably Bad. I used to buy Hot Metal, like a really old mag.
Yeah, I used to buy Kerrang! And
I think Matt Redford. No. Bloke's World. Mm-hmm. Ado was one of the 2 main editors of Mad. What did I just say?
Ado.
Hot Metal.
Hot Metal.
Yeah, Hot Metal. And we all grew up just watching.
I got a Facebook friend request from him the other day, actually.
Yeah.
And I hate Facebook, but when you get requests from people you like their work, it's great.
Yeah.
You know.
But just looking at these magazines, man,
Mate,
I just feel sad that I'm sure no one gives a stuff anymore.
Hey, look at this. This is a thing called Muppetous.
Big pictures of people.
Look at that. This is called Muppetous Conspiratus, and it's by Gleno. So this guy does all the He's done all of the animations for Greasy Belcher and Unbelievably Bad, and he's got a book called Muppetous Conspiratus, which is an illustrated.
And on the front cover is my trusty assistant Beaker.
He's working out how Muppets are secretly responsible for every conspiracy that's ever happened, and it is fucking hilarious. The explanations are beautiful, and the illustrations are crisp. You know what I mean? So that's the guy. I'm doing a series of articles at the moment. I've done a bunch of different stuff for Unbelievably Bad. I've done Greasy Belcher's Stinky Slaughterhouse, which is where I just rip the piss out of politicians and musicians. I'll see if I can find the earliest Stinky Slaughterhouse because it's the shortest, and it's somewhere deep in the middle of the magazine. Another hero of Unbelievably Bad magazine is Angus McDeath. Look at this dude. He's like an Australian James Hetfield.
Wow,
fucking cool.
Yeah.
Angus McDeath. Just Evil Empire is an album that he had, and he just looks like a one-man band that no one's ever heard of. And it's just fantastic to hear how much Matt loves that guy. And I don't even know which episode I was first ever featured in. I'm looking at issue number 4. That might be it. And I just basically say, hey, g'day, I'm Greasy. Bear with us all. I don't even have these things bookmarked in the magazine. It's just cool to contribute to something that's just so much fun to actually create, and to see anything get out there, and know that there are other people just like you who don't give a fuck about anything but have this creative disease is a great thing to.
How much work to put in a magazine? Put a magazine together.
Sorry if we're on this podcast actually gone a bit.
I don't care.
A bit. Yeah, down. We're basically
flick through a magazine. I'm telling you, find an old music magazine and flick through it, and then think of all the work that's gone into every word and every even the advertisements are a window in time, and little record company things trying to promote bands you've never heard of. Have you got
issue number? What issue number have you got? 5? Or
yeah.
I tell you, I'll swap you for another one because my first article's in that. Flick through that. The artwork that goes into these things. We just stopped talking. Okay, so I'm going to read. This is the first ever Greasy Belcher Stinky Slaughterhouse. Drew, listen to this. So my first ever one. issue number 5, I think it is, of Unbelievably Bad. I'm now open for business, and my first customer is the recently disgraced former minister Milton Orkanopoulos, caught by the knackers shagging young boys, paying for the privilege with our tax dollars. What a disgrace. I demand John Howard resigns with immediate effects or sends me a hooker as an apologetic form of a tax return. Wasn't it funny when he walked out of the police station to be surrounded by a horde of angry journos and local residents, only to find his chauffeur had fucked off? What's the betting this is the same chauffeur who has dropped off countless tearful 10-year-olds and had to shove a greasy tenner in each of their hands for a new pair of untorn, non-blood-stained underpants? He was probably parked around the corner laughing his bollocks off. These political pricks are all a share of useless bleeps. Not one of them is worth my vote. I'm sick to death with their attempts to stay out of prison and out of court. If you can do the crime, you can do the time. Half of them would love a free colonic, courtesy of the prison shower heavies anyway. So why the desperate struggle to stay out of it, I don't know. John Brogdon is another one. Thank fuck his grimy mug is no longer in the business of kissing babies for a living. John Brogdon is a rich boy and a political brown nose and a true pro when it comes up to turning up everywhere just to get on the news. So his career took a massive nosedive. And what did he do to respond? He made a piss-weak attempt at self-harm. I've inflicted more self-harm, jerking off, than Brogdon's so-called suicide attempt. Listen up, you political jokers. Next time you feel like a public bout of sympathy, give old Greasy Belcher a call and I'll pop round with a 2-pound lump hammer, a silver-tipped wooden stake and a hose pipe for the Merc exhaust. I'll get the job done if it kills us both. The basic message is here: don't be a failure in death just because you're a pathetic, soulless bastard in life. Do us a favour, kill yourself like a man, you political puffed bastards.
Heavy.
It's not heavy at all, it's just ridiculous. But that was the kind of thing that set Greasy Belcher up with Matty. I've been doing it now for about 10 years, writing things that have become longer and longer and longer. We did the series of Stinky Slaughterhouse, then we did Diary of a Boring Bastard, which is when we were in the Bastards, jamming every week.
Yeah, when you faked your own death.
Oh, fuck, that was retarded.
Oh, my God. Poor Matt. Oh, I love you, Matt.
That was...
Please explain. Go on. And this is going to be the one we'll end on. It's been an hour and 40 minutes.
I don't know, man.
So please tell us this story. It made perfect sense at the time.
I'd never spoke to Matty, I'd been tortoise in the shell. I'd written for Matty for like 6 years or something, 5 years, and never spoken to him. And one morning I just woke up with a hangover after a huge session out the back of our place. And I sent him an email and I said, look, Matty, this is Greasy's missus.
Yeah, but we were about to do a gig. There was an angle. That was a legit angle, a recording. No, it was you can't lie. You can't lie. It was. It was.
I'm shaking my head going, tell me.
No, it was like we'd recorded Hell Yeah. It was so good to us. We recorded this music. Oh, my God. And it was the next issue.
Yeah.
You had a story.
I was roped in. I'm like, yeah, man. A Diary of a Boring Bastard or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, mate. I think.
But maybe, but you go.
I think you're the marketing guy and you don't think there was an angle. I think I was just fucking with him because I rang him an hour later. Or half an hour later, but as soon as he got the email, he emailed back and was like, what?
Say the email, you haven't said it yet.
Oh no, so I basically sent Matty an email saying, hey Matty, listen, we woke up the other day and Greasy didn't come to bed and he was basically dead behind the bar. So, funeral or whatever is next week. And Matty was like, fuck, what the hell? He wanted my phone. He sent me I just think I might just wanted his phone number, wanted to chat. And I sent him he sent me the phone and said, please ring me. And then I rang him and says, man, you better come to my fucking funeral. And he was just like, you can't. We just laughed.
So mean.
And it
made perfect sense to me.
It was an epic first funny way to actually just talk to each other, you know what I mean? And it's funny, because we didn't pester each other on the phone, you know what I mean? I send him texts when I'm hammered, and it's a bit of fun. But I think the next time I saw him was he came up we did the boxing match, and I just let him know, fuck, I'm doing this challenge. It's not even a challenge. It's supposed to fix your life. I want my life fixed. I'm going to do this boxing match. We did 10 weeks of boxing, and then we went and fought in front of about 600 people at the casino, and Matty flew up for it, and I fucking nearly got bashed down in the ring in the first 10 seconds by a giant.